That is horribly dangerous. Imagine a passenger walks over here and just falls out. Well, we already know how that works because they do it right here on this bridge. Lovely. Hello, welcome back to Trains and World, where we're playing the Great Western Express Christmas Closures. The weird thing about this mission, it only requires 500 AP to officially get the gold medal. You don't have to do a whole lot to get the gold medal on this. It's so strange they never made it like 5,000. Don't tell them the changes, please, because this is probably one of the easiest gold medals you can get for one of the harder missions to do.
With London Paddington closed due to engineering works, you've been called on to assist with the trains being turned back at Ealing Broadway.
So like the lady said, we're going to head over to platform number 3. One of the things about this mission, it is freezing cold, and there's a lot of people wearing things like capris, they're wearing skirts, they're wearing things that are not made for this weather at all for these folks. I don't even know why or how some of these NPCs are even wearing the wrong clothes, but that's perfectly fine, I guess, right? So we're going to head over to platform number 3 and wait for our service to show up. And just like everybody else, I keep saying, don't step over the yellow line. My train's actually going to be coming from over there. It's going to be an HST. We're going to wait over here at the official HST car stop. We're going to look at the timetable while we wait on this train, standing over the yellow line like that person way down at the other end. First thing we got to do is, of course, climb aboard and then set up our engine, unlock and load passengers, and then we actually have to hit the guard signal, very important for that piece there. And then we're going to set our train going forward to Ealing Broadway, unload passengers there, do the guard signal again, and then stop at Acton Yard. Whole point of Acton Yard is to flip engines from the engine that I'm driving in that's coming towards me right now to the opposite side, and then we're going to actually drive it back to Ealing Broadway once we set it up, of course, and then we're going to drive it back to Slough and then officially disembark and exit the train. So we have this lovely lady who's driving our train right now. We're going to watch her disappear once the service arrives. It's so much fun to see when that happens. All right, lady, we love you. Have a nice day. We will see you in just a minute. Boop, she's gone.
Thanks for helping out today. With your local knowledge, the manoeuvres at Ealing Broadway should go smoothly. When you're ready, take control of the train.
So what's so much fun is everybody here is waiting for this train. If you look at everybody's face, they are not happy at all. Everybody looks horribly angry. Every single person. This guy's got a really interesting hairdo. Oh my gosh, but everybody's pissed off one way or another because I am not moving this train. This guy's got a cup of joe. He's pissed off as well. Every single person is just angry. What's up with this guy? He's on his phone. He's the only one not carrying. He's talking to his friend. But yeah, look at all these people that are just unhappy. This guy looks horribly shady back there. What is he doing, man? The cool part about it is there is no time limit. I could take forever, or I could take it forever and a day, and it won't matter. All right, first thing they want us to do, of course, is to unlock the doors. If we check a couple of things while that train rolled on in, the cab light's already turned on for us. There's a lot of things that are already turned on for us. So we're just going to go and unlock the left doors, and we're just going to let the passengers in. All these folks that were really pissed off and angry with me earlier are all going to start climbing aboard and just start being pissed off inside the train. Except for, I guess, this lady who's not going anywhere. She's waiting for the next train, and a few other folks here, for whatever reason, they're waiting on their next train. Is totally fine. In the meantime, while passengers are loading, we're going to make sure we have our train supply brightness on bright. Make sure our train supply is on. We're going to make sure that this mission doesn't get screwed up too badly. So we're going to have fan speed just a little bit because it is freezing out here January 1st of 2017. More on why that's important. In the meantime, we are going to turn our DSD isolation to off, and we're going to turn our AWS isolation to off and turn off that horrible noise that happens when we have the AWS on. If we did contact the dispatch, they will say to proceed as signal would indicate. We have a green light, so we have nothing to worry about there. So all we have to do now is load our passengers up and lock the doors as it says there. And with our friendly train next door to us leaving out the door, they want us to hit the guard signal. Now we're going to go outside real quick and we're going to go back into the back train. We probably didn't even need the guard signal for this particular platform, but they want us to do it, so it's fine. We'll hit the guard signal. Just because we can't really see anything from inside this engine and can't even walk back there or anything like that. We're going to set the reverser to forward. We're going to set the train brakes to running. The key thing about the train brake is making sure that this right here, this dial goes all the way up to 5.1, which happens to correspond to the brake pipe pressure, and then we're going to make sure that this dial goes all the way down to 0 roughly, which will be your brake cylinder rate there. And then it wants us to set the throttle to notch 3. Even before we do that, we probably should check and make sure our headlights are day headlamp and markers. You never know when this game will screw you over and went like this, right? You just never know. Our gauge light is already on maximum, don't have to worry about that at all. But let's go ahead and put throttle 3 and set ourselves out to Ealing Broadway. 13 miles before we get there. So very important, folks, if we go on the outside wheel and we kind of get down to the level of our engine and stuff, if we try to go to throttle 4, there's a high chance we're going to wheel slip, and if we did wheel slip, the wheel slip indicator light will actually turn on every time we wheel slip. As you can see there, it will pop on. Just to keep that from happening, you keep yourself on throttle 3. Wait patiently for that throttle to eventually hit something like 20 miles an hour, give or take. Then you could probably bump it up to throttle 4 and eventually throttle 5, probably when you hit like around 30 miles an hour. It's going to take quite a while to get up to 125 in this engine with the snow on the ground, the precipitation kind of messing up the traction stuff. I think I could probably get away with throttle 4, just barely. It's still slipping a little bit, but it's not too bad. I can kind of hang on to this. Sure, I could probably put some sand down, but you know, there's no point to. We're already rolling along anyways, so I don't have to worry about anything late like related to that. So might as well just keep myself moving, right? The whole point of the Christmas closure episode here, it's actually based in real life. So this episode is based on the time period of January 1st of 2017. Around January, actually more like around Christmas Eve all the way to January 3rd of 2017, Christmas closures actually did happen and involved places like the Crossrail West, which took place between Old Oak Common, Dockley, Hayes, Acton, and Maidenhead. And all of these are seeing significant changes to services out of London Paddington from Christmas Eve all the way up to the end of the date there. There was actually about 200 or so projects that were going on in around 2017. And so guess what? The railroad decided it was better for Network Rail to shut down the railroad. Now, it's not the entire railroad network that shut down, but at least 95% of it was operational. The other 5% was shut down. In other words, the section between Paddington to Ealing Broadway was pretty much out of commission, right? So that means we had to stop at Acton Yard, then turn around and head back. We got about 10 miles before our destination, and this whole project originally started in 2009 with the goal of it being completed in 2018. Somebody from the UK will have to correct me whether or not it had a cost overrun and went beyond 2018, but according to what I'm looking at, it's due to be completed in 2018. It costed $14.8 billion for this project, and the whole project was to build the Elizabeth Line. That was the whole point behind it. So back in 2014, Finsbury Park had an incident. Some of you may have been around in Finsbury Park when the incident happened in 2014. Basically, it was just chaos and maddening what they had done. And the rail line had shut down back in 2014 and just horrible, horrible disruption. So what they had done after that, especially going into 2016, 2017, they started creating access points, in other words, to provide spare train sets and crew operationally ready in the event of service disruption. They were basically ready to cover services between Ealing Broadway and anything around that area. Staff and operators were brought in at Paddington and Ealing Broadway. Comprehensive information campaign was done by Great Western Express and the Transport for London to intercept passengers before they got to Paddington or Ealing Broadway. Large-scale vinyls and existing Crossrail building works at Ealing Broadway was there to alert local passengers to the disruption. Provision of refreshments and things to mitigate the cold or wet weather at Ealing Broadway was also done. And last, of course, engagement of local businesses to ensure that they were aware of the closure and any potential opportunities that they may be able to manage there. As you can see, we've already passed our AP score. Yay! Congratulations, folks. That's all we had to do. Just drive 100 miles an hour, drive halfway to Ealing Broadway. We're done, right? No. We have to go to Ealing Broadway and stop our train and reverse it and come back. This mission's not over yet. So the larger part of this whole billion-dollar program of modernizing the Great Western Express or the Western Railway network and whatnot, if you look at this map, it actually has a lot of interesting things on there. There was an intercity express program. There's a freight line involving more capacity going to the freight line. There's single modernization. There's the Crossrail West, which is actually the section that we're dealing with right now. There is the in-cab singling and new comm system, which I guess was not in effect as of this mission per se. There's the North Cotswold more capacity there. There's the Swindon to Kemble, improved reliability there. None of that matters here because we don't even go to that point. And then, of course, we have electrification for quieter, more efficient trains all over the map. Folks, we're about 5 miles out from Ealing Broadway. We're probably going to want to slow down before we accidentally overspeed and crash into something over in the other end. So we're just going to drop our throttle at least notch 2. We're going to see what happens with that. So 4,000 workers carried out 330,000 hours of work over 10 days over that festive period time frame of December, well, essentially Christmas Eve all the way to January 3rd, which is pretty insane, honestly, for how many people had to be dealing with this. However, there is some challenges that came out of this, and a lot of this was, again, to bring the Elizabeth Line between Reading and Heathrow across London and whatnot. This also included offering a second ramp at the Stockley flyover, which probably doesn't matter here because we don't even go there, but it also includes a new diameter at Acton, which probably is not even in game at all, but you probably can see that in real life by now because that is in game by that point. We're just going to drop our throttle down to 0, and I think we should be able to coast at least for a mile or so from there. And some of the challenges with this is they were trying to start running electric trains, hence the electrical wires that we could see over our head here. And the trains the idea behind it is to deliver consistent high quality travel for customers across the Thames Valley, offering at-sea power sockets according to them, air conditioning, extra luggage space, and free Wi-Fi for customers. And here I thought the Class 166 had this available, and I thought the HST might even have this available, but I guess not. The Crossrail itself is a new railway for London and the southeast. It ran from Reading to Heathrow through 42 kilometers of tunnels under London to Shenfield and Essex and Abbey Wood in southeast London. Again, the whole project, $14.8 billion, started in 2009, did not complete until 2018 when they officially open the Elizabeth Line. Again, like I said, somebody please correct me if I'm wrong on this. Why is my train brakes not working? I feel like it should be telling me I have train brakes, but it seems like it's not turning on. That's so bizarre. Normally the little light comes up saying I have train brakes, but that is okay. It looks like I'm slowing down. We have about a mile or so to stop our train, and we're going to kind of hope for the best that our train brakes can at least get us down to 25-ish or so. We're probably going to have to bump up our train brakes a whole lot more before we get there. Alright folks, welcome to Ealing Broadway. We are stopping in about 800 yards or so, and we want to get our train to slow down just right. I've noticed that it's really hard to stop this train on the snow. It's very difficult. It's not the easiest thing to do because the train is technically slipping in the snow here, and we're going to try to just zoom over here, hopefully before another AWS goes off and sets off my train again. But our goal is to try to stop at the very front, way over here at the HST train car stop. I doubt I'm going to do that. There's a chance I'll probably pass it. Thankfully, there's no light up ahead. That's totally fine. But we're going to go ahead and drop this train down to a little bit under 20, and I think we can get this. So it's about 200 yards away. My train is rolling in. I'm trying to get this thing slowed down to about 10 miles an hour. It's very tricky because we're going to have on a downhill slant. So that means the train's going to keep moving a little bit faster, but we don't want to make it go too fast. But at the same time, we also want to stop this train right there. And I don't know if I'm going to stop too early. It's so hard to tell because the train, it's just, again, very tricky here. Now, this crossing up here, as you can see with the folks up in the top right corner here, they don't know how to walk through the thing. They get jammed up and they stand there. Sometimes they fall down and they end up down here somewhere and just start walking around on the ground and then just poof, disappear, you know what I mean? I'm going to end up stopping here. I don't want to stop here. I don't want to stop here. Please go. Please go. Just a little bit more. Yes, I got it this time. Yes, I did it. This is great. So we're going to stop this right when I hit that little icon there. I did it this time. I wasn't talking too much. This is excellent news. Excellent news. Full service. That's all I need. So 500 AP just for that. They could have just given me that for our AP score. We're going to unlock the left doors and let our passengers get out of my nightmare train here. And this person was already ready just to fall right on in and hop into the train. So funny how this happens. Holy cow, what in the world? My train's already done. I didn't even do anything. Maybe it's because people are just falling onto the roof. That's probably what's going on. We're ready to go. The train's ready to go, but the people down there, they said we're not ready. This person's like jammed up on the door. She's trying to go on the train, but she can't get in. This is probably the first time I've seen people actually sitting down on benches. When did this happen, folks? Why are you here? Are you waiting for when I go in the other direction? I think you're waiting for when I go in the other direction. They're all pissed off. Everybody's mad here, folks. All right, locking the left doors.
Okay, you're clear to shunt into Acton Yard.
Locking the left door that I was saying there, we need to confirm the guard single. And again, the point of the guard single here, as you can see, we're kind of sticking out a little bit. Not by much, actually. If we go back into that back cam there, we're only sticking out, honestly, by one door. But this door doesn't really matter anyways. Everybody can still get in that door, so we're not sticking out by much. So it's totally okay. But we're going to hit the guard buzzer anyway, just to play it safe. 2 buttons there of the guard buzzer, and then we can go ahead and get our train brake down to running and our throttle up to throttle 3. And we're going to be going to Acton Yard, which is only about a mile away from here. So the whole point of the Elizabeth Line, by the way, which is also known as the Crossrail line, whether this is in Train Sim World, something we don't even know. By the way, this little line says we're going to Acton Yard, so it's very important to know that. The Elizabeth Line was officially approved in 2007. Construction began in 2009. And what's very interesting, it was, besides the fact it was named after Queen Elizabeth II, she actually opened the line on the 17th of May of 2022 during her Platinum Jubilee. If I got this right, that would mean this line was opened late. It was supposed to open in 2018 and it didn't open until 2022. Good job, because it said here the Elizabeth Line didn't come fully operational until May 2023. Cost overrun, people, cost overrun. The plus, though, is there's new 9-carriage class 3, 4, 5 trains that started to run at frequencies in the central station of up to 24 trains per hour in each direction through the central core. Someone please, if you're from the UK, tell me if there is a class 3, 4, 5 in Train Sim World. I would love to know, because one day I would love to play it, so that would give me an idea of what I probably should pick up at some point when the spring sale comes on, the fall sale, or whatever sale that pops on. We gotta get down to 15 miles an hour here, and train brake 2, that should probably help me get there. I just need to get down to 15 and that'll be enough. And it's gonna be really easy to accidentally overrun and overspeed just because we got this slight gradient here that goes downhill, and we just have to kind of watch out for that as we go along. Now, unlike the first group that owns this section of the Great Western Railway, the Elizabeth Line is actually operated by something called the MTR Corporation, also known as Crossrail Limited, as a London Rail concession of the Transport for London. Very similar to something called the London Overground, which is actually in Train Sim World. I know this because I've seen it. The total estimated cost rose from an initial budget of $14.8 billion to $18.8 billion by December 2020. You can probably understand what potentially caused it to get cost overrun. COVID, of course, caused most of the delays and the cost overrun. Otherwise, UK, you guys would have gotten it good and you would have gotten it open in time. So as usual, folks, I do appreciate all of you guys for watching this. I do appreciate you guys giving me comments and subscribing and leaving me likes. It is really good to see, the subscriber base grow and get to see a fan base and everything. And sometimes I wonder if I'm doing a great job. And it's really nice when I get one of those comments that goes, keep it up, keep the good work going. And it's kind of little things like that that make a huge difference for me, and it just makes my day. Sometimes, when you make videos and you have to do editing and you have a real life to go to and you have to work and all this other stuff you have to do and you have family stuff, sometimes you really do wonder, will you have time for this? Is this worth it? Is this, something you want to do long term? Is this something you want to give back to the larger train community or even the train enthusiast community, right? And when you get these subscriptions and when you get these likes and when you get these commentary, it's really just really humbling, and it just says this is so great to see this from everybody. And I'm like, oh, thank you guys. If we just pop outside, you can kind of see what the yard looks like. It's not much, honestly, because there's nothing going on here, because that train should not be going to London. Somebody please stop that train. Who says that train can go?
Good work. Close down the desk and walk to the other cab.
Why do I have to stop here in Acton Yard and that guy can keep going? That's so messed up. Anyway, so set the reverser to engine off. We probably should do that, right? What does it want me to do now? It says the master key, set the master key to locked. So that's going to shut this engine off. And then set the headlight to tail light. So kind of look at that bottom corner there, this little icon right here that has our headlights on it. And just observe when I put it on tail light, you can see the tail light pop on. And if I just go to the outside cam, you can see my tail lights are officially on this lead engine. We actually have to do it manually. We probably should turn the gauge dimmer to off. We probably should turn this band speed to off, and not to mess somebody else next time they hop in the train. Probably should turn the climate control off. We probably should also turn the DSD isolation to isolated and the AWS isolation to isolated. And most importantly, turn off the cab light because we're not going to actually be in here. It's already off on that side. That's funny. Turn the cab light off on this side. Why can't my mouse find the cab light? It's still messed up. And the last thing I'm going to do is turn off the train supply because I don't need it, at least not on this end. So we're going to walk to the other end. I don't understand why they don't just do this at the Ealing Broadway station. That might make a little bit more sense to do this at the station, but I guess this is okay. This must be what you guys do in the UK. At least in America, my experience has been like if the train has to reverse, the train's still on the same platform. It didn't go to a separate yard or anything like that. The engineer just either walks through every single car and hops on the other side, or they get out and walk down like I'm doing here and get to the other side from there. One or the other, that's what they do, right? So this is a little bit different for me to do this, but I don't mind. It's okay. It makes sense. At least in the context of the Christmas closure, I originally, when I first playing this episode, I really thought that the Christmas closures had nothing to do with the Crossrail. I actually thought it was because of a snowstorm and the blizzard shut down the rail, but apparently that's not the case. Apparently you guys over there get this a lot more often, like literally every year.
You're all good to go. Depart as soon as you're ready. A successful job, I think.
She likes what I'm doing. This is good. So we already know the gauge light is already on. We don't have to worry about that. Set the reverser to forward. We're going to do that for me. We're going to go ahead and set the climate control here to fan speed to, I don't know, 63 is good enough. And we're going to put a little bit of heat here. We will want to turn on the AWS and deal with that really annoying sound. Turn that sound off. And then DSD isolate. We want to turn that on so our foot pedal works. And then, of course, we want to make sure, even though it's already on here, day headlight and markers, or day headlamp, and I'm saying day headlight, that's fine. But anyways, I'm mousing day headlamp. Anyways, make sure those lights are on and it's properly set, at least according to the icon down here in the corner. We can contact a singler, says proceed, a single indicate. We can't even do that because we have to wait for brake pipe pressure to change. While we're here anyways, the train supply brightness is on bright. The might as well do windscreen de-icer, why not? And the spare had no use apparently, so we'll turn it on. Why not? And let's go ahead and turn on our train supply, let it light up. And then from there, we can do the train brake to running. And wait patiently for the brake pipe to hit 5.1. And wait patiently for the brake cylinder to drop down to 0. Throttle, we're going to go to throttle 3, and we also need to know that we're going to Ealing Broadway, which is only 1.1 miles away, so it's not too far. Very important, folks, very important. Remember that you're in Acton Yard, so you only go 15 miles an hour within the yard, so don't automatically jump to conclusion and go, yeah, I can go really fast. No. Keep yourself nice and slow, 15 miles an hour, and then eventually you can hit that 30 mile an hour zone. The problem with that 30 mile an hour zone is it won't hit until you hit the back end of your train, which really sucks. So that means we have to wait till the back end of our train hops back over all the way to the single itself. And of course, we got the little AWS monitor there. I doubt it's going to turn on, but we'll see. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. We'll find out as soon as the engine rolls over it. We'll kind of do what the plates do. It doesn't turn on, lucky me. So now all we have to do is just wait patiently for the back end to go through. Alright folks, with the back end of our train just finally clearing the single back there, we're going up to 30 miles an hour. Keep in mind, we don't need to go that fast, honestly. We do have to switch over to Ealing Broadway and stop there anyways, and so we just want to go to reasonable speed, maybe 20. 20 is reasonable enough. We're probably going to hit a couple AWSs along the way, but that's totally fine. So one of the reasons I was saying that the Elizabeth Line isn't the only Christmas closure you guys have been dealing with this year after year for anybody that lives in the UK. Keep in mind, they did it again in 2023. They shut down the rail line over Christmas holiday. Why are they choosing Christmas holiday? Believe it or not, Christmas holiday, or at least that period that they keep shutting things down, the 24th or so all the way to the 3rd, happens to be the least amount of passenger service, at least by 50%. That's kind of shocking because usually here in America, more people travel over the holiday period, not less. Whether they travel on rail, that's a whole nother circumstance, another issue, but typically people get on the road over the holiday season, whether that's Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, or any of the other holidays like 4th of July and whatnot. But at least in the UK, for some reason, people don't do that, which is really surprising. And so that means Most Great Western Railway services end up stopping or terminating at Reading instead of London Paddington. There's limited Great Western connection between the GWR and Elizabeth Line. Yes, they built a brand new railway for $14.8 billion plus some money, and they're telling that railway they have to slow down and stop again. Lucky them. And the other thing, they're also connecting the underground services will run from Ealing Broadway into central London. But it's not going to necessarily connect all of this. And why are they doing this? It's very important, folks. Where is this light coming from? It is actually coming from the sunlight that is streaming through the doorway, and that house is in my way, so I can't see anything. But let's go ahead and release my train brake and kind of just float along. We're back at Ealing Broadway, where everybody falls down through the staircase because they cannot walk. I might just hear a thumping down on my top of my roof or whatever it is, you know? So with us finally stopping, we're just going to kind of coast along. That 1.1% grade should hopefully help us there. And in Ealing Broadway here, I think we're going to get lucky and we're going to stop right about where that target is right there. In fact, we can even go to camera 3 just to make sure, and golly, that was not a good thing to do with camera 3. I probably should hit more train brake here. More train brake. There we go. That should do it. That should do it. That should do it. Come on, give it to me, give it to me. Right there, yes, that is where I would like to stop. That is a beautiful stop right there. A whole lot better than the last time I did this. 500 AP for that. Unlock the left doors once again. And we're going to go to camera 8 so we can kind of see what's going on with this and why we have to keep using the guard buzzer. If you notice now, there is a door all the way out here. We can even go inside and say hello to the folks, and it would even open the door for us with the camera. Isn't that insane? I love how that works. So that is why we have to hit the guard buzzer. These doors, actually, to be honest with you, this one, and that one all should not be open. That is horribly dangerous. Imagine a passenger walks over here and just falls out. Well, we already know how that works because they do it right here on this bridge. Lovely. Before these folks all fall down, it's saying it's time to lock the doors. There's a couple. There's at least one last straggler right there. I think he's going to go inside the train. No, he's going to get stuck in the door. We might as well lock the door. He'll be fine. He can find another route. It'll be okay. I love the fact that the window's closed, and I love the fact that that lady is literally standing on my train. So let's go ahead and hit throttle 3. Hopefully she'll be okay. I don't know what happened to her. She just pooped out and disappeared. We're on our way to Slough, and our train will be ready to head out actually in this direction. I thought it was going the other way. Wait, what's going on there? That door, I saw it. It was open. Somebody jammed up my door. That's crazy. Now, even though I'm in a tunnel, I gotta say this is actually quite hilarious. There is no way that the snow will actually end up in here. Somebody please tell me how they managed to do this. You obviously can tell they couldn't put the assets differently inside the tunnel, but it's okay. It's fine. We can just pretend that the snow just drifted in and somehow mysteriously appeared because it showed up in these little openings like this one right here. That's just how it happened, folks. I'm going to try to risk a little wheel slip, and the light there might or might not turn on me, but I think we can make it, and we can just kind of push ahead there because we are in the tunnel, so it shouldn't be too bad to kind of just slide on up and go through. I love how they actually managed to get the church. Also, I didn't realize that the church even has snow on it all the way through the whole peak. Good job there. So the whole point of the Christmas closures of 2023, guess what? It's also happening in 2024, folks. Guess what's coming in place for the folks that live in the UK? You already know what's coming in place. For the folks that live in America, you probably don't. So they're going to be opening up something called the HS2. Not the HST or the HSV or whatever it is. It's now the HS2. And the HS2, it involves creating a London Euston station, an Old Oak Common station, an Interchange station, a Birmingham Curland Street station, and then eventually a connection that will continue on to the northwest and to Scotland via the existing network. The HS2, by the way, is meant to be going all the way up until the early 2030s. We will see if they will meet that target or not, and I have very good reason for why I say that. The whole point of the HS2 is to provide better journeys for rail users in the West Midlands, London, South East, with more services, faster journeys, and fewer delays. So you probably all saw what happened to the Elizabeth Line, where it had a bunch of delays, and it's already getting service issues and disruption thanks to building the HS2. It will also provide more track, more trains, more seats, and faster journeys to improve performance and reliability across the wider rail network, adding 250,000 extra seats a day to the West Coast main line. That will be really nice. And modern eco-friendly flagship stations such as Curzon Street, Interchange, Old Common, and Euston will act as transport hubs, putting hundreds of destinations in easy reach for travelers. This is what they're saying. Keep that in mind. It's supposed to halve the journey time between Birmingham and London. So no longer is it going to be the Great Way Round according to the Great Western Express. Nowadays it's going to be turbocharged connection going from point A to point B and getting people there really, really, really fast. The HS2 is designed to be 140 miles of track, 4 new stations, 2 depots, 32 miles of tunnels, and 130 bridges. The caveat is the folks that live in London, that live anywhere in this area, essentially describe this, and I'm just going to take the words off of this, a nightmare, chaotic, horrible, right? Just disruptive, and just mind-boggling why they are doing this. Even America, they probably wouldn't shut down a rail line like this completely. They probably shut it down at night. That's probably about it, right? And so that means, guess what? Paddington is going to be out of action. King's Cross is going to be out of action. Victoria is going to be out of action. Leeds, Wakefield, York, Darlington, Southampton Airport, all of it's going to be out of action. That's what went out of action over Christmas 2023. And the government is not happy with this. They've actually not supported things, and they've kind of abandoned things. So whether or not the full HS2 will actually come to being, that's a great question. They've actually canceled the remaining sections of the link between the Midlands to the north of England that had not been previously axed already, but the work is continuing on the southern trek between Birmingham to Old Oak Common. The reason they're making the cancellation happen is because they feel like it just undervalues the point of using the money. $36 billion that were being used for the HS2 project is actually going to get rediverted to hundreds of thousands of transport projects, and so that means the HS2 may or may not actually exist. And in fact, that's not true. They did say that the HS2 will go between Birmingham and Euston as planned, but they will not support any further extension beyond those 2 points. So with us about 4.8 miles from Slough, you can already expect to have another set of Christmas closures from 2024 beyond. If they ever remake the Great Western Express for Train Sim World of 500, you could probably see the fact that there will probably be another Christmas closure episode. I personally am enjoying this. This is actually quite nice to have this, and like I said, I really do appreciate all you subscribers for subscribing, because you get to go along the journey with me. You get to learn some stuff about railroads along the way, because I'm just finding this stuff fascinating. Sometimes I don't get an opportunity to do this stuff. You ride these trains and you just have a bunch of time and just, enjoy your time or read a book or listen to music, but taking the extra time to really explore the route and kind of see what's up and just kind of immerse yourself into the railway designs and stuff like that. It's been really fun. Like I said earlier, definitely like and subscribe and leave me comments. I do appreciate all of these comments. I will read them, and I will do my best to answer them when I got some free time to do so. Unless I get like 100,000 comments in it, I might have to get somebody to help me with that. But otherwise, I plan to answer as many comments as I can. With you guys' help, it's going to be really helpful to kind of hear your feedback about whether or not I'm spot on with some of this stuff, because I don't know everything about railroads. I'm not expecting to know everything about railroads, but sometimes I say things and people are like, wait a minute, that's not right, but then sometimes I say things that are pretty darn spot on, you know what I mean? I'm going to do my best to try to relive every comment that you guys post and just kind of let me know what's up and what you guys think about the UK rail here, and kind of give me some feedback on some of the content I've already created in terms of the stuff I might be sharing and whatnot. It's been really fun, I think, to take the extra time to look into things, do some research, and kind of understand where some of this stuff comes from. I think I said this earlier, that my original perception when I first played Christmas Closure was this whole thing was closed because there was a blizzard in London, and therefore the train couldn't complete the journey. That was my initial anticipation and perception, but then going into digging into the research and just kind of learning about what actually happened. Oh my god, don't stop my train yet. What actually happened and where things went. It's really neat to see that this mission happened because of the Elizabeth line, and then a future mission might actually happen because of the HS2 line, and there may actually be an HS2 that we can actually drive because it'll be small enough for Dovetail Games to actually want to create such a thing, you know what I mean? But folks, I don't know if you realize this, but there's something really cool I just discovered today. I'm on camera 2, right? And you got camera 2 that you can, scroll around like this and do all this cool fun stuff. And we're just going to drop our throttle just a little bit. If you just do this with camera 2 and you use your mouse to zoom in, you can actually see they modeled the little computer. They modeled the computer that's inside the HST. This is actually really cool. So this computer is one that you would use if you were like a guard or whatnot, and this actually had some options. I wish we could see it. I don't understand fully why they modeled this and why they didn't include the ability to go in it. I would have loved to go in this and explore this computer, but whatever, they didn't do it. Maybe they couldn't model anything else, who knows? But I'm very happy that they actually did that. Okay, now I'm like genuinely curious here. I know we're gonna have a stop here coming up, but I'm gonna turn on the engine light. We're gonna go back to camera 2. Does that turn on the light in here? It does not. I'm just super curious where that engine light would actually turn on. Was hoping I could see a light bulb, but that's fine. Anyway, 900 yards out, and we're about to stop in Slough, so we're gonna hit our initial reduction on our brakes. I was so happy to say thank you to all of you new subscribers and say thank you to everybody watching and all that I completely was not paying attention. And guess what I did? I left my train brake on initial, and I just was letting it just slow my train down. I was like, why am I stopping? What's going on here? And I couldn't quite figure out why my train wouldn't go, and it was stuck, and I was like, that's why. As our itinerary says, our job basically is to stop at Slough, load passengers, and basically disembark and head to the exit and call it a day. Surprisingly, when I did this earlier, I somehow ran into a baton that's up on the station, and I screwed myself up and I collected it. I was like, darn it! I know, sometimes I like trying to save the collectibles for later where I can just kind of get them all in one go. Now I'm going to be like, where did this collectible come from? And I'm not going to remember where it came from, you know what I mean? As you can see, my AP score that just updated, I got 5,489 AP for a total of 500 I was supposed to get for the gold medal. Yay, I did it. I did it, right? Good job, me. So we're going to go ahead and get my train to slow down here, and we're going to try to, like, you know, stop in a reasonable pace before I overrun and hit that single that is, like, literally at the end of the line there. And I don't want to get screwed up and accidentally do that to myself, but at the same time, I don't want to stop so much that I stop my train. Come on, train. Keep going. Keep going, train. Yeah, trying to stop an HST, it can be a little tricky because, you know, you're trying to use your brakes in a reasonable pattern. You're also trying to use your train throttle in a reasonable pattern, but at the same time, you don't want to go over the light like that one there. So what we're going to do here in 30 yards, we're going to just slam the brakes and just stop our train. In fact, it's probably going to do it for us. I think we might be okay, but just to play it safe because that light is dangerously close to me, we're just going to go full service, full service, full service. That's fine. That's fine. Enough. Okay, thank goodness. 16 yards. Yikes. Let's go outside and see how close that was. Hey, but I did hit the cab stop. Look, that's a perfect stop for me to get out. I did really well right there. That is awesome. Unlock the doors. I'm not even doing that. So let's go ahead and load up the passengers. And what does it want me to do? It literally says journey complete, disembark and head to the exit. What we are going to do is we are going to hit the DRA, set that on just to make sure nobody goes walking around on us. We are going to put the reverser on neutral like they did there. We'll just leave the climate control and everything else on. Turn off the DSD isolate, turn off the AWS isolate while our passengers are loading. We probably don't have to do anything else. We'll let the next conductor, engineer, whatever, take over this train and zoom on wherever they're going to go from here. I guess they're going to go to Reading. Who knows where they're going to go, right?
That seems to all run smoothly. We made a good scene there. Have a great day.
Well, folks, what am I doing there? I spilled my drink. Right at the end of the mission, right into my keyboard. I'm like, oh. Well, anyways, it says exit, walk to the exit and complete the scenario. So let us do that while I was like, so I'm going to have to let my keyboard dry out before I can do another mission with you guys. So we're going to head to the exit 170 something yards away. Well, folks, let's go ahead and see what our final score is. I forgot there's even a final score in this game. So let us see what our final score is. We obviously know we got 6,239 AP. So we know we are good there. We got the gold medal. It's the important part, of course. Like and subscribe and leave me comments, and look forward for some more coming soon, folks. Bye, guys. From Paddington, even though we're going towards Reading, we do want to talk about Paddington because it really is a cultural hub of the area, and we do have plenty of time. There's plenty of missions here in journey mode to be able to talk about the different areas and whatnot, and plenty of time to kick the Q button in the butt before it shuts me off. Hopefully it won't, and hopefully I won't be late because of it.